Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 18th of November 2022. The London shopping trip tomorrow, 1 p.m, Hyde Park. Well, it's actually Wellington Arch, which is sort of between Hyde Park and Green Park, opposite Hyde Park corner there. So that is the exact meeting point. So if you're going, I'll see you there tomorrow. Haven't heard anything about any other parts of the country. Information on that seems to be rather scant. If I do find out anything, I'll come back on later on or first thing tomorrow. So I see that the powers that shouldn't be have been having one of their jollies at us taxpayers' expense. They had the COP27 in Egypt a couple of weeks ago. This time they're in Bali. Started off with something called the B20, which I've never heard of, and then turned into the G20. And I think that has just come to an end, or about to come to an end. But once again, these clowns have met up, and at the behest of all kinds of unelected bodies and people. It is a right old WEF fest. Old Schwaby boy was there, and I think Billy Boy as well. They're all there, you know, and no doubt giving the Muppet puppet so-called leaders we're giving them their latest orders. And one of them is they've signed, one of the things they've agreed to there is, believe it or not, some kind of V passport for international travel. So what they're proposing with this thing is that if the Whiskey Hotel Oscar deem it necessary, that you should have some kind of treatment for whatever threat they deem is current. Well, you're going to have that, and you're going to have this V passport along with your normal passport for international travel. So it is a gross imposition on our freedoms, of course, and all part of the agenda, really. They don't want people travelling, do they? So it's all part of that, really. But yeah, it's something we need to be aware of, and it's something we need to make as many other people aware of, and to fight back against it. So that's one bit of news. Another bit of news is two of my favourite people, or people that I've watched at least a good amount of time over the last 2 or 3 years, is Vernon, who I'm sure almost everybody watching this knows, and also James Delingpole, two stalwarts of the freedom movement and speaking out against the nonsense. And you know, they've both put in a lot of effort. And well, they've both got together on James Delingpole's Delingpod for an interview. So it was good to see them talking together and sharing thoughts. And if you're interested in watching it, I'll try and leave a link to it in the description box below here. But I noticed that it's got the word Apple in it, so don't know if that only means you can watch it on an Apple device on that particular link. If it doesn't work for you, the link, just do an online search for the Delingpod or James Delingpole /Delingpod, whatever, and you'll soon find him and all of his latest podcasts. And then I think the Carl Vernon one wasn't the latest one, but it was a fairly recent one. So highly worthwhile watching. They talk about some fascinating stuff. Talk about all of the nonsense, of course, And yeah, it's quite a fascinating watch for a Friday night perhaps, or over the weekend. So another bit of news, this was sent in by a subscriber, so thank you very much for this. You remember how, I think it was last year or maybe even earlier this year, can't remember exactly when it was, but the November Hotel Sierra were planning on making your private personal medical records available to anyone who wanted to buy them unless you opted out. I'm totally out of order. How on earth they can even sort of think these things up? It just shows you what wrong-uns these people who run these things are. The powers that shouldn't be are. But yeah, and they only gave us a ridiculously short amount of time, something like 2 or 3 weeks to opt out of it as well, although many people did so. Well, I think there was such an outcry against that the idea was actually dropped, but it seems not for very long. And we're going back to the, what I was talking about a minute ago, the passports. We thought, we all knew that was probably not totally dropped, but just on the back burner. But the powers that shouldn't be just seem to always come back with these things when you think you have achieved some little bit of a victory there. They just come back later on. It's just so annoying. And sure enough, they've come back with, the November Hotel Sierra have got together, or planning on getting together with some company that works for various countries' intelligence services, and together they're going to introduce this whole thing of making your personal data available to people. And this time there's not even an opt-out option, believe it or not. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. So I'll let you find out more about that. There's no kind of petition or anything like that to sign at the moment, but as and when we kind of keep track of this story and see how it develops, something will probably come up about it before not too long, hopefully. But I thought I'd better make as many people aware of this thing as possible. So I've got an article about it. It's not a video, just something to read. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below as well, so you can check that out and make yourself aware of this new imposition. So just to finish with, I saw a brilliant meme over breakfast this morning. Memes, and I keep going on about them, how fantastic they are. Absolutely wonderful things. And this one, how did it go? It was something along the lines of, I'm convinced that 99% of our problems would disappear if 99% of the government disappeared. So true, and I agree with that sentiment 100%. Just a quick add-on, a subscriber called Anne, thanks for this, Anne. Literally, she must have been reading my mind about the G20 thing I was talking about, because she sent me a link to a GB News article where they were debating this very topic. So I'll leave a link to that. It's only about 3 or 4 minutes long in the description box below, along with the James Delingpole Vernon podcast and the thing about the November Hotel Sierra wanting to sell off your records yet again. So all of that will be in the description box below. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.